told you that with just $1,000, you hold the key to transforming your financial future? Today, we'll be diving into the topic of investment opportunities and how, with just a modest sum, you can kickstart your journey into financial empowerment and freedom. Hey, it's Dr. Joanna Ray with Sustainasoul, where we talk about soulful and sustainable living, including financial resilience. And in today's Financial Friday, we will be talking about what to do if you've got $1,000 and you think you're ready to invest. In fact, I did talk about this a little bit previously in last week's video. I'm going to go ahead and link that up above, which basically talks about how and when to get started with investing. Let's say you've got $1,000 in your pocket, maybe some kind of windfall, maybe a bonus, and what do you do? So first of all, I want you to think about what is your financial situation. Are you in debt? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Or are you footloose and fancy free with possibly the investing opportunities up ahead and you just got this small amount? First of all, congratulations on having that $1,000 saved up. If you're still in debt, go ahead and start paying off that high interest debt because that debt is eating you alive. And if you can save 19 to 20% in interest, it's really better to put that money to paying off debt. If you are debt free or if you've paid off your high interest debts and only have certain debts such as student loans or mortgages, then you can think about maybe doing an emergency fund, which is the second step. So I really wouldn't get started with investing until I had some money set aside for an emergency fund in case something happens and you don't have the funds right at hand. Go ahead and try to put $1,000 to $1,200 aside for your emergency fund, up to 3 to 6 months of expenses. So basically, once you have your emergency fund set up, you are really ready to invest. Please put that money in something like a high yield savings account where it's readily accessible and it can be still growing in value. Next, what I would probably do is invest in education. There are so many books that you can get secondhand. I was actually able to get all of these wonderful titles secondhand, even here in Thailand. So for $3 to $4 a piece, I was able to source 6 amazing titles, and I will feature them in various videos, but this is part of my financial plan, is to actually increase my financial education. I would suggest getting a couple secondhand books if you can, but if you don't want to spend money on books or courses, go ahead and just source the free information that's out there available on the internet. There's so many wonderful avenues nowadays for accessing financial education. The next thing is to start small. So really just kind of get your feet wet, get used to the platform that you're using, the brokerage that you're using. Go ahead and start an account and make sure it's the right kind of account. For me, I have a taxable account because I'm not able to take advantage of any tax advantage accounts such as 401k and things which are sponsored by U.S. employers because I am living abroad. But if you are in the United States and you have the eligibility, you probably could start something like a 401k or an IRA or a Roth IRA. Once you get this account started, obviously you're going to have to put money into the account and start thinking about what you want to buy. Now, so many years ago when I started investing, I read a book and it suggested 3 fund portfolio. And, this is not investing advice, but this is what I got started with, was basically a S&P 500 mutual fund with Vanguard, as well as an intermediate term bond fund and also international stock fund. So those 3 funds were what I got started with, and I really didn't even know what I was doing, but I was going based on this book, which is why financial education is so important to get started. The next is to diversify your investments. With $1,000, you really don't have a lot of money to spend, but to look at something like an exchange traded fund or an ETF is really going to be your best bet. Now, you have a couple of options, and this is not financial advice. This is just purely me sharing with you some of my experiences. Basically, something like VOO, which is the S&P 500 benchmark, which is going to be the 500 top U.S. companies. You also have something like VTI, which is the U.S. total stock market, and there you're looking at something like 4,000 companies, including more medium and small size corporate companies. Okay, so those are your kind of like main options, but you might want to play a little bit with a little bit of growth, and I do recommend something like a QQQ QQQM. It is basically the NASDAQ 100, and it's significantly in the growth aspect more than kind of the broad market. And this is something, if you're able to take a little bit more risk, or if you need to catch up and you want to be a bit more aggressive, this is something that I've been doing myself as someone who got started later in her investing journey, who I got started basically in my 40s. This is something that worked for me, and right now I'm up significantly. Stay tuned for my next portfolio update to see how I'm doing as I try to go on my journey to reaching $1 million invested for retirement. The next thing is to really keep realistic goals. Okay, $1,000, if you put, let's say, 70% of that or 700 of that into something like VTI or VOO, and maybe another 30 or 20% of that into something like a QQQM, you really have to be realistic and think about your time frame. What is your time frame? Are you looking at investing for more than 5 years? If you're looking at investing in less than 5 years, I probably wouldn't put my money in the stock market. In fact, I'd stick it in a high yield savings account or even in a money market account and just hang on to it and gain that currently around 5% interest in not have to experience so much risk. If I have a longer horizon, which is something like 15 to 20 years, which is my horizon at the moment, or even better, if you're looking at 30 to 40 years because you got started young, good for you. I wish I could have done that when I was your age, and I feel like I'm definitely behind on my journey, but I've made so much progress in just such a short time. So I really do recommend, for those of you who haven't got started yet and you do have that $1,000 in your pocket, don't spend it. Go ahead and save it and invest it for your future. Now, it's so important to actually invest, because if you're just saving money and you're putting it in the bank, yes, the interest rates right now are really good and you can get something like 5%. However, that's not always going to be the case necessarily. And in previous times, interest rates have actually been pretty low. For me, I was lucky to get started in investing early on, and I saw the benefits of invest. However, I was not in the position to actually contribute more funds to my account, and my investing journey really did get started when I turned 40. This is just me kind of sharing how I got started and what I wish I would have known, what I wish somebody would have told me if I had $1,000 in my pocket. The best thing to do is to get started young, and the next best thing to do is to get started now. So if you haven't and you want to, please think about how to get started and look into increasing your financial education so that you feel a bit more comfortable and knowledgeable about looking into your investment opportunities. I'm going to go ahead and link a review up above of The Simple Path to Wealth, a great book for those of you getting started. It really did help me to reevaluate my portfolio, especially when I turned 40, and to think about actually simplifying my investment strategy. Okay, and remember, don't always look at your portfolio. Sometimes it's going to be up, sometimes it's going to be down, and really, because your time horizon should be something at least more than 10 years, you really don't need to be looking at your portfolio every day. In fact, I try not to. I try to even forget that I put the money in there and just keep dollar cost averaging and adding that money month after month after month. And really then when you look at the money years from now, you're going to say, oh my God, I've made so much money in the stock market. And it's just an amazing feeling. I know for me, my current gains are significantly around probably 20%. And that is just amazing in such a short time of around 3 years. And I am just going to continue sharing with you on my journey. And I do appreciate all your subscribes and likes and comments. Do like and subscribe because it helps me so much to see what kind of content you enjoy so that I can make more content that you like. Thank you so much for watching, and check out the next video here.